The 2022 NFL season starts tomorrow, and in today's video, we are going over our 2022 NFL full season predictions, and I'm talking full season predictions for every single game, every record, awards, playoffs, Super Bowl, all of that in this video. This is the first episode of my weekly NFL podcast. I'm super excited to be bringing you guys all new content you haven't seen from me before, and every single week, we are going to be doing this NFL-style podcast that I'll get into more when we actually start today's episode. First of all, I need a couple things from you guys. Number one, we need a name for this podcast. I don't know if I want to do anything crazy. Maybe more of like a memorable name would help. And second of all, we want to get you guys involved. We want to keep you guys come back every single week wanting to watch this and be looking forward to this episode. So let me know how we can get you involved, whether it be commenting, giveaways, stuff like that. We want to hear from you what you guys want, what would make you more engaged and wanting to watch this throughout the entire NFL season. So let us know in the comments below. I don't want to waste any more of you guys' time. It's a long video anyways. Our full NFL 2022 season prediction starts now. What's up, guys, and welcome to our first week of our NFL podcast. I'm super excited because this is just some content that I've never done on my channel before, but this is something that Zach and I have had planned for a really long time. This is our weekly NFL podcast where we're going to be talking about everything having to do with the NFL and kind of put our own little twists on it. We'll be talking about recaps of the NFL, we'll be talking about all of our fantasy stuff, everything that we have going on, and just have conversations about the NFL, all that fun stuff. I'm going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoy it. Zach is going to be doing this with me every single week, as well as maybe some other podcasts as well. And today's first podcast, obviously the NFL games have not started yet. This week is the very first week. Thursday is our first game. This weekend, this Sunday is the first NFL Sunday. And we decided today that we are going to be doing our full NFL 2022 season predictions. And when I say full, I mean full. Zach and I went through every single game. We predicted every single game, every team's record, the playoffs, and all of the awards. And we're going to be highlighting that for you guys today. It's going to be fun to come back, after the season's over and see how close both of us were. I think most of them, from just preliminarily looking at them, we're pretty similar on a lot of teams. There's a couple teams where you have some bigger discrepancies, and we'll talk about those in the video, but pretty similar. And I'm excited to kind of go down and break it down for you guys. So really, without further ado, we need to get started because this is probably going to be a little bit of a longer video, and we got a lot to talk about. So without further ado, let's get right into the first kind of part here where we're going to be talking about just each division. We're going to break down each division. We've got a graphic for each division and our record for each team. We're going to go through kind of very briefly for each division, each team, and then we'll move on to our playoffs and all that. So to get started, we are starting off with the NFC East. So, on the screen right now, obviously NFC East, we got Cowboys, Eagles, Commanders, and the Giants. So, Zach's picks are going to be on the left here. My picks are going to be on the right, and all of the stars for any of these teams' records denotes a playoff berth from that record. So, starting off, the only main difference here is that we have Zach has the Cowboys winning that division. I have the Eagles winning that division by a large margin. I also have the Cowboys making the playoffs. Zach does not have the Eagles making the playoffs. So what was your thoughts here just for a couple of these teams and just this division so far?
I think this division kind of stinks still. I think our main difference here is you're clearly more confident in Jalen Hurts than I am. And we've talked about that a couple times. I just like Dak a little more than I like Jalen Hurts. I do think there's definitely a chance that Jalen Hurts shows up and has a big season, but I'm just not taking a gamble on it quite yet. So I've got the Cowboys as a safe pick.
Yep. Commanders I have with one more win than you do. You have the Giants a little bit worse than I do. But for me, like I said, Jalen Hurts for me, I think takes a big step this year. And that's really going to be, I think we said this, like the determining factor in how good the Eagles are. And if he's good, they've got the team to surround him with new A.J. Brown. And I think the team has the potential. The defense looks really good this year. A couple new additions. So that's for me. And then Cowboys, I only have, really nothing crazy different between us. Except, like I said, the Eagles for me are going to be much better than what you thought. So Eagles 13-4. It's a big record. It's a big ask, but that's what I have so far. Next, we're going to be talking about the NFC North. And for us, this is a close one because we got Lions. We got the Lions fans. Both of us are from Michigan, are big Lions fans, so definitely an exciting season for the Lions, hopefully a turnaround season. And we both have them doing pretty well here. And really the main thing is that we both have the Packers as the only team that makes playoffs. Obviously, still a bit of a weaker division with the Bears being not too good. The Lions
probably just out of being in the playoffs right now. The Vikings, a question mark. That I feel like they could be good, could be not good. Packers are pretty much a given, but we do have a big discrepancy with the Vikings. I don't know what your thoughts were on the NFC North.
Obviously, I've got Packers good either way. I think Aaron Rodgers is a good enough quarterback just to make the receivers play up to his level.
Yeah.
Because I know I've talked to a few people about it. If you play like garbage with Aaron Rodgers, who are you going to play good with?
Yeah.
There's not many quarterbacks better. And then obviously I've got the Vikings finishing a little better than you. I think they're a pretty talented team. They played a ton of close games last year. And then Lions, we both have finishing well. They also have a horrendous schedule. Like their schedule is so unbelievably easy. Other than that, like I said, just Packers still going to be good this year.
Yeah. And Vikings for me were one of those teams where when I was going through the individual games and stuff, and then I see their record, I'm like, wow, I didn't give them enough wins from what I thought. But individually, each game, I have to pick who I think is going to win the game, and that's just how it ended up being. I think I ended up getting like 1 or 2 more wins or something, but still, based on their schedule, for me, I didn't like it. So that's, I definitely could be a question mark for the Vikings, but that's what I have. Packers only 10-7, but I think they'll end up probably being even a little bit better than that. That's just kind of what I gave them. So moving on, we are going to be talking about the NFC South. So moving on to that, definitely an interesting division this year. We got the Bucs and the Saints as 2 probably top-tier teams. We got 2 bottom-of-the-barrel teams with Falcons and the Panthers. So just kind of talk maybe a little bit of your thoughts here. I know you like the Saints a lot this year. Bucs are going to be good. What do we think?
Obviously, Falcons, not good. Kyle Pitts, AJ Terrell, not much more there. Panthers were going to be really, really bad. Baker just isn't a needle mover, really, for me. Like, he's decent, not that great. And then Bucs, I think Tom Brady-led team is almost always going to win the division. And then the Saints, I think, is very similar to the Eagles. Whereas if Jameis Winston plays well, they'll play well. If he doesn't play well, they won't play well. But I've got more faith in him because I've seen him do it before. So I think they'll still be a very good team.
Yeah, and we talked about this. Jameis had a really good start last year. They had a good team at the start. They had a very good start before he got injured. And they just have a very good team. Their defense is very good. And Jameis back, you get Kamara. You still have Michael Thomas coming back, hopefully, in the first couple weeks. You have Olave. Your team is looking really, really good. They still have a good O-line. So the Saints could be a very, very good sleeper team, even to win that division, even the NFC. There's definitely potential for them to do that. You don't know. Other than that, like you said, other 2 teams that's just how they are. So moving on, the final team in the NFC, we have the NFC West, and this is a doozy. This is one where a lot of things can happen. We don't know. This is what we have, and we definitely have one team with a discrepancy here. One team that's just completely out of the league than the others. I think the Seahawks have the chance to be the worst team in the league this year. I think we both have given them that chance. There are some other bad teams as well, but Seahawks not looking too good. But other than that, we got a heater. Rams, I've got at 14-3 winning the entire NFC for me. Cardinals, I have only one more game than Zach, but kind of our big difference here is the 49ers. Zach has the 49ers being at 12-5 and making the playoffs. What were your thoughts with that?
I do. I think either Trey Lance is going to be a very good quarterback or he's going to play like garbage, and then you bring in Super Bowl caliber quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo. They've got a ton of talent on defense, a ton of talent on offense. They're a really good team all around. It's just quarterback play, which I feel like one way or another, they're going to play the best quarterback for them, which I think is going to be playoff caliber. And then besides that, I think everyone knows the Rams are going to be very good at football, and the Cardinals should be very good as well. They've got a very talented team as well.
Yep. Yeah, that division, I'm excited to see. That's like one of those divisions that's you're just going to be looking at. You really don't know. Like, I feel like a lot of the other divisions, you're like, the top 2 teams, probably who's going to make the playoffs out of them. This one, and a lot of things can happen here. Any of those 3 teams could win that division, I think, this year. Especially one of the question marks is with Stafford. I think that's one that we got to pay attention to because he's got an arm injury that they're saying could affect him this entire year. Now, Stafford's played through injury before. He's Matthew Stafford. He's one of the best underrated quarterbacks in the league. I think he'll be fine, and as long as he is, the Rams will be good again this year. So, moving on, we are going to be going to the AFC. We're going to be starting with the AFC East. Definitely, I guess, a different division. This is probably our biggest difference in division for the most part that we have. Definitely some movement throughout. So what were your thoughts when you were kind of looking at your schedule and looking at how your division shaped up when you're making your picks?
So obviously we both know the Bills are the best team in this division. It's not even close.
It's not even close.
The Dolphins, I think they have potential to make it into the playoffs, but Tua is really not that great. Jets, rebuild year, and Patriots, I'm repping right now. Best quarterback in the game, Bailey
Zapp.
If you know, you know. Dude's a stud. Next Tom Brady. But they're going to stink this year. They have zero talent on that team. There's no talent there, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think, for me, when I was doing my record, I think it was more seeing what they did last year and kind of trying to see if they could replicate that. The more and more I think about it, the more I'm like, that probably doesn't make a ton of sense, but that's just what I had, and we'll see what happens. That's like the one team that I'm like the least confident about with my record, I think. It's like that, the Vikings, maybe a couple other here and there, but that one, especially looking at yours and seeing the 6-11, I'm like, maybe he's right, but it's anything can happen. They could go crazy, but you're right. Like they receiver wise, like you just don't have anything. Mac Jones hasn't shown anything crazy. Mac Jones had a pretty good year last year.
He's solid.
He's solid, and they running back wise, they don't have any elite running back right now. That it's just a big. I think the Patriots are definitely a question mark this year. Could go one of two ways, or they're just going to be an average team probably. So moving on, we got the AFC North, and this is definitely going to be a fun one. A lot of question marks with some of these teams, and the Browns obviously is definitely going to be a very interesting one this year. The Steelers, kind of on a rebuild year, looks like they named Trubisky the starter today, or at least number one on the depth chart. But we do have kind of a big difference here in that I have the Ravens much better than Zach does, winning the division, making the playoffs. He doesn't. And this was another team where I was kind of going through the picks, and then I was like, that's not what I expected when I was making them. So what are your thoughts on the just this division and what it kind of shaped up for you versus what I have?
Yep, bottom of the barrel, Steelers, I think. Trubisky's actually captain this year as well.
That's a good point.
I do think he's definitely their starter right now.
Yep.
Elite defense, Trubisky's not I don't know. Steelers are I don't know about the Steelers.
They could be good.
Browns,
there's a chance they're decent, but they got Najee. They got a couple receivers.
They have some talent. I just really don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't trust their offense. Browns, I think, going to have a bad start. Deshaun comes back. You just can't recover from it this year.
Yep.
And then the big difference, obviously, like you said, we've got the Bengals at the same record.
Yep.
So we both think they're going to be very good.
Yep.
I'm just an avid Lamar Jackson hater. Lamar Jackson cannot throw the football. If you're in a 3rd and 10, 3rd and 15 situation, I don't trust him to make any throws, ever. He's not a good passer of the football.
Yep.
Very good at running, not a great passer. So I think in some games he'll be able to run his way to wins, but I really don't think that's going to bring you to a high playoff spot.
Yeah, and I think a good kind of something that's definitely important is especially get rid of Marquise Brown too. The receivers there, like I said, the more I look at my record, I'm like, I don't know why I chose that too much. But another point is last year they had just the worst injury luck. All of the running backs, Dobbins is looking like he's probably coming back week 1 or week 2. I think who else I think it was on defense. They had a couple injuries last year too. I forgot.
Almost all their corners.
Yeah, so they're going to be healthier this year. I think they're still, because when they were healthy the year before, they were fantastic. Obviously, Lamar MVP that year too. So something you got to look at, and I definitely, if he can return to his MVP caliber self, even if he can get maybe better throwing the football, I think there's a chance there. That's another iffy one for me, but that's just the way my picks came out. I think the Bengals make a good run this year, have a good team. They improve on the O-line. The Browns, like you said, Sean Watson, and Steelers are the Steelers. So, moving on, we're going to be talking about the AFC South here. This one is, once again, what one was this most similar to? This one is most similar to the NFC South, which kind of makes sense. We got 2 bottom-of-the-barrel teams, somewhat, and we got 2 probably pretty good teams. So, we definitely have some discrepancies here. We got the 2 top-tier teams kind of different here. What were your thoughts when you were making this, and what do you think about my record, too?
So, as you know, I was very high on the Colts last year, middle of the season, and then Carson Wentz kind of falls apart. Defense kind of falls apart. But they have a better quarterback. They didn't lose anybody. Defense got a little better. So I think they're going to be very, very good this year. And then obviously, bottom of the barrel is bottom of the barrel. Texans are going to stink.
116, man.
Jags might get a little more wins than that. I think they're going to be okay this year. They're kind of like the Jets this year. I'm just not sure about them. And then the Titans, you have very good. I have it 11-6, which I even think might be a little high just because O-line got worse. They just lost Harold Landry. You lose A.J. Brown. You lose Julio Jones. I don't know.
Fair.
I think they're still going to be – his upside's very high, though.
Oh, it is.
Losing both of those guys is crazy.
But I'm saying on the Titans, he really ended up didn't do much because he was injured so much. But no, that's definitely important. And obviously, Derrick Henry, you didn't have Derrick Henry last year, and they still ended up making a very large run. So that's something for me that was important. You get Derrick Henry back this year as long as he stays healthy. I think they'll be good with they're going to be good with Derrick Henry, Tannehill. Who else did they lose on defense? Because I know. I'm trying to remember.
I'm not quite sure. I don't think they really made that many moves on defense besides I just know Harold Landry tore his ACL.
Yeah, they lose Janoris Jenkins, Rashaan Evans, and then they also lost Saffold.
Not that
new
much.
Players I had is Robert Woods, Hooper, you get Traylon Burks, Haskins. Maybe not too different of a team this year, but at the same time, I don't know. We definitely have a big discrepancy here. This is my leading AFC team. So we'll have to see. I think the Titans could have a good year, especially with Derrick Henry back. But definitely, like I said, this is who knows for this one. And then finally, we have the AFC West, and this is the division.
The death division.
This is the death division. This is the division where anything can happen. We've got kind of a big difference here as well. Some teams making it, some teams not. Some different records. This is just the division. The fact that the quarterbacks in this division, we got Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Russell Wilson, and Derek Carr. People can make arguments against Derek Carr, but Derek Carr is a very good quarterback. And the fact that technically, all four teams in this division can make the playoffs. But because they're all in the division, they have to play each other twice. Chances are that's not going to happen because, even if they split, then they each, that's automatically a few games you lose. So it's a tough division, and as you can see by their records, nobody's way ahead of the pack, which is probably what happens. We had probably most of them splitting their games with each other, which is why their records are so flat and even, close together. 11-6, 11-6, 10-7 for you, 11-6, 10-7, 9-8, 9-8. They're all within a couple wins of each other. What do you think? I see you get three teams from this division. Derek Carr is the one that doesn't make it out this year.
Because Derek Carr is the worst of the quarterbacks there.
He is.
He's a top 10 quarterback, and he's the worst quarterback in his division. This might be the greatest division of quarterback play of all time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
3 top 10 quarterbacks in the same division. And I have the least confidence in this one.
Yeah.
I have zero confidence in this prediction. Because what if the Raiders sweep a team that I don't have them beating? And then they go 10. I just don't know with this division. So I just really – the Chiefs – when you think about it, Chiefs have the hardest schedule because they finished in first place. They get first place schedule. So it's really just – this is just a pure toss-up. I have zero confidence in this.
It totally is. And the fact that the Raiders probably got better too, especially get Devontae Adams, so they get a huge weapon there. They could end up being fantastic. For me, I have the Chiefs not making the playoffs, which is so hard for me to even say. But I think the Chiefs might. I mean, they do lose some big players. They lose Tyrann Mathieu. They lose Tyreek. Obviously, get Juju, who's no Tyreek, but still will probably be the wide receiver 1. It's Mahomes, though, man. It's Mahomes. So he's probably going to lead them to way more wins than they normally should get. Chargers, they very well. We both have them at 11-6. They very well could be the AFC leading team. I've heard so much hype around the Chargers this year. So definitely going to be one to question. And obviously Russell Wilson too. Russell Wilson on the Broncos. The Broncos is a revamped team with Russ, and he's got weapons. He's got some defense. The Broncos could be good too. You have them winning the division. This one is going to be fun. I'm excited to see how this shapes up. But for me, I got the Chargers and Broncos, and then you've got the Broncos, Chargers, and the Chiefs making the playoffs. So
it hurts to say that a team from this division isn't going to make the playoffs.
I know.
I almost could see the Titans dropping, and I could see a world in which all 4 teams make it. They're all so good.
The 3 wild cards, it's unbelievable. Like I said, this is the division you got to be watching all these divisional games, unless just something crazy happens and one of the teams just absolutely suck. But I don't know if that's going to happen.
I mean,
so I'm really excited for this division. That's a good point. That's a really good point. So with that is our individual playoff, rounds and how everything's going to work and how everything's shaped up. Now we're going to be talking about just seedings real quick. So I've got a graphic here for our seedings and what ended up working out. And this was a nightmare because NFL playoffs are annoying. Obviously, the way that it works is the divisional winners then first get seeded in the first 4 slots, and then you got 3 wild cards. And there's so many different tiebreakers. Obviously, it's going to go head-to-head first, and then it's divisional play, conference play. It's a nightmare to sort out. And we had to do everything ourselves because we literally planned out this whole schedule. It was not fun. But we have very similar playoff teams. The ordering is definitely a little bit different. So we're going to start with the NFC here. Some of the ordering is different, and obviously we've got some different teams here and there. The biggest one, obviously, we both have the Rams as the number 1 seed, kind of going back-to-back after the Super Bowl there. The second one is where we have a little bit of a difference here. The Eagles, for me, as we talked about, going to be winning their division by a long shot and grabbing that number 2 seed ahead of Tampa Bay. After that, we have a very similar thing. You have the 49ers at 5th. And then you have we both have Cardinals at 6. You have the Cowboys a little bit better. I have the Saints a little bit better. The Eagles are just, for me, is where that slots in and kind of changes my order. So we have very similar playoff seedings. Any kind of notes you want to point out there about what you had, what I have?
First off, just want to say, if you're thinking about doing this with no shortcuts, don't. It's not fun to do tiebreakers. Not fun at all. So complex.
We spent hours and hours on these picks themselves, and then I spent hours and hours doing the tiebreakers because then.
Oh, just don't do it.
It wasn't
just
fun.
Don't do it.
It wasn't
do
fun.
not do it. You can just watch us do it. We did it for you. There you go.
That's why we're here.
You can criticize us for doing it wrong.
Exactly.
Obviously, they're basically the same. I've just got 49ers. You've got Eagles. Again, just Jalen Hurts is iffy for me. I think the worst team I have is the Saints at 11-6. So it's very tough to get in for me. So big difference there is the Eagles. I think we have similar thoughts on most of the NFC teams there.
Yeah, definitely a pretty similar comparison there. And moving on to the AFC, is where it's definitely a little bit different. The order is definitely kind of all over the place. But once again, only one difference in teams. And once again, the difference in teams is a big one. My second seed, once again, the Ravens, Zach doesn't have in the playoffs. And then his one team is the Chiefs, who ended up squeaking in as a wild card at their 10-7. What did you have?
Tiebreaker.
10-7, right?
Yep, they tiebreakered the Ravens.
Okay, yep. So you had them out. So that was, I guess, somewhat close. But once again, so I have the Titans much higher, obviously. He's got the Bills winning that conference. I've got the Bills down at 3. And then Bengals, a little bit of a difference there. He has the Colts much higher than I do, once again. We both have the Broncos. So once again, the ordering here is a little bit different. But once again, we still have the same team, same kind of thoughts. I think, once again, we do have, I think the biggest difference here, obviously, is the Ravens, but Titans I think is a big one here too. Titans and Colts, that AFC South division is definitely the one I think we have the biggest differences on.
Yep. Basically, like I said, I saw the Titans making it. I could see them falling out of the playoffs, but I'm not 100% sure. I mean, they were the 1 seed last year. You can't just. It's hard to say they're going to be the 1 seed last year and then not make it this year. It's really tough.
Yeah.
And then besides that, I've already spoken enough about the Ravens. I dislike the Ravens a lot. I hate the Ravens.
Yep.
Ravens hater. Yep. Besides that, I just think the Colts are going to be a really good team. But we've got very similar views on the entire league.
Yes, we do. Which is a good thing, which means, well, I guess I don't know if it is a good thing. We'll have to see if it's a good thing.
We're either both going to be very right or we're both going to be very wrong.
Exactly. I'm like I said, I'm really excited to see how close we are with all of these. So next, what we're going to be moving into is our kind of our what the playoffs are going to shape out to be. All the matchups, the whole bracket. So I'm going to start with my bracket, kind of break that down, my individual matchups, how everything kind of played out. So first of all, obviously we got your wild cards, and starting off we got Eagles and Cowboys. I've got the Eagles winning that one. I had the Eagles very good this year, so I had them moving on. Bucks and Cardinals. I think the Bucks are good this year, even though I didn't give them the best seeding. Which, I mean, 3 is still pretty good. Only one win off of being number 1 seed, anyways. But over the Cardinals I think are good this year, but not quite Buccaneers level. And then Packers and Saints. Packers I think are going to have a good. It's Aaron Rodgers in playoffs. They'll get home field advantage at Lambeau. Packers. Moving on, Eagles versus Bucks. For me, Bucks are just going to make a run. It's going to be a divisional matchup there. Or not a divisional. I was thinking Saints for whatever reason. Not a divisional matchup, but Eagles, even though I had the long run, they don't have enough experience. They're playing a very experienced player in Tom Brady, so I've got Tom Brady win that matchup. And then Rams and Packers. I got the Rams being the Rams. Matthew Stafford being Matthew Stafford. Leading to an NFC Championship of the Buccaneers and the Rams. Another banger. Was that was it last
divisional.
year?
That was the divisional game.
That was the divisional. Okay,
Rams were up 27, blew the lead. Field goal.
And then, so Rams are going to follow the Buccaneers here. I think Tom Brady is going to have another fantastic year. Beat the Rams here. I don't know. I don't really have any reasoning other than Tom Brady making it. So that's my NFC. And then my AFC, Ravens and Broncos. I've got the Broncos winning this matchup. I had the Ravens very high for the whole year, but once again, that's another one where I didn't know if I'd like my schedule. Broncos, I think, will be pretty good here. And then Bills and Colts, I got the Bills winning that. Bills looking very strong this year. I'm not as high on the Colts this year, so I think the Bills, that's an easy one there. Chargers and Bengals is definitely a good matchup. I got Joe Burrow taking them back to the next round there. And then obviously it reseeds. So we got Broncos and Titans. Titans for me, once again, the strongest team in the AFC winning that matchup there. Bills and Bengals, another very good matchup, but I got Josh Allen. I think the Bills are going to be even better this year and make a run, which is why I have the Bills beating the Titans to go to the Super Bowl. Now I'm going to hand it off to Zach to do his, and then we're going to go over our Super Bowl.
Yep, I got my NFC here. Bucks at the 2. Divisional matchup in the first round. Bucks Saints would be a very, very good game. Obviously, still have the Bucks taking that one. Tom Brady's the only reasoning you need.
Yep.
I've got the Packers over the Cardinals. I just think Kyler Murray's a playoff choker. Aaron Rodgers is good at football unless there's 2 playoff chokers. It's going to be a choke match.
Yep, I was going to say, yeah.
And then I've got rematch from last year, 49ers-Cowboys, and the Cowboys do not get their revenge. 49ers are the better team, in my opinion, by a good margin.
Yep.
And then the Rams, I actually have the NFC Championship rematch right here, is Rams-49ers. I have the 49ers taking it this time. They should have taken it last year. But, a dropped pick, you got to catch that, and you go to Super Bowl, but he did not. And then I've got the Bucks beating the Packers, Tom Brady. There you go. And then, very good game. I've got Bucks 49ers, I think will be very interesting. I think the 49ers are very good this year. But Tom Brady is the explanation I need is Tom Brady. You just can't argue against that. And then as we move on to the AFC here, I've got the Colts at the 2, taking out the Chiefs as the 7th seed. I think the Colts will probably manhandle the Chiefs. I don't know if it's weird to come out here and say that, but I think the Colts are very, very good this year. And then I've actually got Bengals Chargers as well, just like you do. I've got a different outcome, though. I've got the Chargers beating Joe Burrow and the Bengals. I don't think Joe Burrow is as clutch as everybody thinks he is. He had 4 chances to win the Super Bowl last year. Didn't score on any of them.
That's valid.
And then I've got the Broncos getting rid of the Titans. I don't think the Titans are that great for playoff football. So I've got them getting rid of them there. I've got Colts in my 2 seed. Then losing to the Broncos and Russell Wilson. Let's ride. The Broncos are going to move on to the AFC Championship game. And then the Bills just absolutely murder the Chargers. The Bills are the Bills. The Bills absolutely murder the Broncos, too. I don't think the Bills have any competition in the AFC. It'll be a lot less competitive than the NFC, in my opinion.
Yep. So just a heads up, we did all of these individually.
Yep.
We did every single game individually. We maybe texted here and there, like, what do you think about this team for a minute? But other than that, we did all this individually, which is obviously why we have a bunch of differences here. But the thing is, after I finished all my picks and everything like that, I decided to take a peek at Zach's bracket because he had already done his. And we came up with the same Super Bowl, the Bucks and the Bills Super Bowl. Obviously, what you said, that's chalk for betting
Chalk
lines.
matchup. Yep.
Chalk
Bucks
matchup.
are favored to win the NFC. Bills are favored to win the AFC.
Yep.
You
And
differ
obviously
though.
That's
you
not how it,
less chalk.
Yep, that's not how it shaped up for obviously for me, or even for our our kind of our lineup here and the seedings. For the most part, mine is definitely a little bit crazy, but still had those two teams just based on just who I thought would win. But the thing is, we do have a different winner. You have the Buffalo Bills winning the Super Bowl over Tom Brady. But I have Tom Brady. I don't know what the storyline obviously is that he's winning every other year. He retires from the NFL and comes back. I think it's too NFL. There's so many times where it feels so scripted, and this is one of those times where you can kind of predict it before the season even starts. The Bucs are still going to be good. You get Tom Brady. Tom Brady's still, who knows what he's got going on, but he's Tom Brady. I've got Tom Brady winning the Super Bowl again, his 8th. And being another Super Bowl MVP. You've got Josh Allen. Obviously, it's most of the time going to be the quarterback. Josh Allen is a very good quarterback as well. If that's the matchup, it's going to be a hell of a Super Bowl. I mean, I'd be thrilled to be able to watch that Super Bowl if that was the case. So definitely a discrepancy there, but that is kind of the way that our playoffs. I don't know if you want to say anything. Yeah,
you're very cruel. You're very cruel. That would have the Bills at 0-5 in Super Bowls all time.
Yep.
0-5. It's not going to happen. Tom Brady's 45 years old. He went to Michigan. I love him. But he's not winning this one. Josh Allen's younger. Josh Allen's going to be better this year. And I think the Bills roster is just so stacked.
Yep.
Bucks are losing tackles and centers left and right.
It's true.
So I'd take the Bills. I would definitely take the Bills here.
Yep. So
and obviously Josh Allen Super Bowl MVP because Josh Allen is Josh Allen.
Yep. So the last thing we want to go over, we also did. Hey, I'm telling you, we did a full season prediction. When I mean full, I mean full. We also are predicting who is going to win every single award too. So let's just start MVP. Who did you have for MVP?
I had Josh Allen.
I had Josh Allen as well.
That you did. Yep.
Yeah, we both had Josh Allen. I think he's just going to be too good this year. Offensive Player of the Year, I had Derrick Henry. Zach ended up with Jonathan Taylor. Both definitely could each win it as easily as each other. It's just, that's just kind of how it is.
I mean, that's top 2 running backs in the league.
Yeah.
One of them's probably going to win it.
Yeah. Micah Parsons for Zach, Defensive Player of the Year. I'm on board with that. I've got Aaron Donald just because it's Aaron Donald, but Micah Parsons last year, dude's an animal, just an absolute freak. So I wouldn't mind. I like Micah Parsons already. I wouldn't mind that, and I would not be surprised. Offensive Rookie of the Year, I think, is the one that's the most wide open. And I've got Treylon Burks. I don't think that'll... Really, the main reason is I have the Titans so good, and I think Treylon Burks maybe takes that big step and is that one of the guys. Maybe not a Jamar Chase level, but still a very good level. Zach's got Garrett Wilson for the Jets. You think Garrett Wilson's going to have a good year?
I think he will have a very good year. I had to switch my Offensive Rookie of the Year and my Defensive Rookie of the Year a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Because I had Breece Hall. He's not the starter. And then also for Defensive Rookie of the Year, I forgot who I have already. He got hurt. Whoever it was, he got hurt. I forgot who it was. Kayvon Thibodeau. He's going to be out for a couple weeks. So
yep.
I had to switch both of them up. But I think Garrett Wilson might be very, very good on that Jets team.
Yeah. So you switched up and chose Jordan Davis. I have Aiden Hutchinson. I'm going with the Lions. I think Hutch is going to have a good year. I mean, he will unless he gets injured. That's just how he is. He's a good player, an insane freak. So excited to see him, and I think he might win Rookie of the Year. Comeback Player of the Year, I got Derrick Henry after being injured last year. I think he's won it before, so that allows him. I don't know if I think I've heard something about him maybe winning that before.
He has. Maybe he did just because he had a bad season one year. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I think I heard. I could be totally wrong, but I've got Derrick Henry. Zach's got Jameis Winston. I like that. I mean, most of the time it's going to be a quarterback like that after an injury or a player after an injury, something like that. Jameis Winston, I think, is definitely a good candidate for that this year, especially with the projection the Saints are on. And then Coach of the year is definitely always a weird one, especially for me. I don't know a ton of coaches in the NFL. I do, but this is so tough. And the reason I chose Nick Sirianni is because I have the Eagles doing so well this year. Obviously, that doesn't happen if the Eagles don't do well
on the tennis court.
Yes,
that's how fired up he is.
So I've got Sirianni winning Coach of the Year just because the big jump that I think the Eagles are going to take, just based off my record predictions. Zach has got Frank Reich for the Colts because he has got the Colts doing well.
Yep. I mean, Frank Reich is he was really good in Philly, actually, as the offensive coordinator. Yep. Nick Sirianni. But besides, I mean, you basically just pick a coach on a good team.
Yep.
It was Vrabel last year. Titans were the 1 seed. It's just a good coach on a good team.
Yep. That's basically what it is. And that wraps up our 2022 NFL predictions. This was a long time in the making. We spent hours and hours on this, planning this, and making graphics for this. It's been a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, and probably not too many people will see it. But for those of you that are still watching, if any of you at this point, thanks so much. And we're going to start to move into this week's content. So because the season hasn't started yet, there's certain stuff that we can't go over yet. So we're going to do, the only thing we will be doing is picks for this week. The way that these are usually going to work is we'll start off with just kind of recapping the week, kind of going over games, who won what, kind of highlighting maybe certain plays, certain players, stuff like that. Then we'll probably move into just reviewing how our fantasy teams did. We're in the same dynasty league. We've got a couple other fantasy leagues ourselves. We'll kind of go over fantasy players. It's more of a recap and have fun and show you guys what we're doing NFL-wise. We'll probably be doing some FanDuel fantasy stuff, so we'll go over that. Just kind of, like I said, it's not just a recap of the NFL, but it's going to be with our stuff, our own spin on it, with what we've got going on and all that too. And the big part that kind of goes with this channel is going to be something that you guys are going to come back for and want to come back for, and keeping up with our picks. So something Zach and I did last year, and is almost a big reason why we were inspired to do this podcast together, was the fact that we made picks for every single game last year, starting week 4, I think. What did we start at?
5. It was somewhere around
4 or
there.
5.
We missed a few weeks.
And we missed the first couple weeks because we just didn't think of it, and it was a lot of fun. So this year we're making sure that we're doing our picks every single week, and we're going to keep track of who makes what picks, what our records are. And this is going to be something that happens every single week. We're going to highlight who we have up for the upcoming week. And then for the week prior, we're going to talk about who went what happened for the games, obviously pick-wise. And you're going to have to come back and keep checking up to see who's doing that. And winner is going to be buying a $50 gift card, getting a $50 gift card from the other person. So it'll be a lot of fun, something for you guys to keep up on. And we're going to do that right now. So like I said, this is a little bit of a different episode just because the season hasn't officially started yet. This is kind of week 1, preliminary, preseason almost stuff. But for the week 1, let's go over the week. Obviously, first week, and this is something that is definitely tough because you don't know, right? You got your projections on what's going to happen, but some teams are going to look good from the rip when they're not supposed to. A lot of question marks. And starting off, Zach and I have 5 discrepancies on games, 5 different matchups where we think the other team's going to win. Starting off with the first game of the season, Thursday Night Football, Buffalo at Rams. It's going to be a showdown. It's going to be a fun game. I'm excited to watch that. I have the Rams winning. Zach has the Bills winning. So I'm just. How excited are you for football to be back?
Game.
Watch that game.
That's a crazy start of the season. Last year's was Bucks Cowboys. It's like the Cowboys aren't usually great. Like the Bucks, I feel we've seen enough of. Bills Rams. That could be a Super Bowl preview to start the season.
Could be a Super Bowl preview. Unbelievable. So that's a big one right there. Saints and Falcons should be, Saints there. 49ers, Bears, 49ers should win that. Cincy should be Pittsburgh. We're hoping for a Lions win, but I think we both have Eagles there. Kind of a big one that we have a discrepancy on is the Patriots and the Dolphins. Zach has the Dolphins. I have the Patriots for that game, even though he is wearing the Bailey Zapp jersey. He's taking it off because he wants the Falcons to win. That would have been pretty cool if you had a Falcon shirt. It's kind of the Dolphins colors. It's kind of Dolphins colors, so it kind of works. Then let's see what we got. Jacksonville, Washington. That's definitely an interesting game as well. I have the Commanders over Jacksonville. Zach's got Jacksonville over the Commanders. Ravens and the Jets. That's one as well. Panthers, Cleveland. That'll be a Baker Mayfield reunion. I think we both have Baker taking that one.
reunion, revenge game. That's a revenge game.
Tour. That's a good point.
Always
That's
pick
a
the
better
team
word for it.
that has a revenge game. Always.
That's a good point. And then Colts we got with the Texans. There's that. Titans and Giants. Green Bay, Minnesota. That is Sunday Night Football, correct?
Nope. Bucks Cowboys Sunday Night Football.
Bucks Cowboys Sunday.
Packers is probably America's game of the week.
Yeah,
that should
right.
be a pretty good game.
Yeah, good divisional matchup there. Packers and Vikings. Discrepancy we got is Kansas City at Arizona. I got Cardinals taking that at home. Zach's got the Chiefs. So that's a good game too. Very good game. Then Las Vegas is at Los Angeles. And we both have the Chargers winning that. Tampa Bay at Dallas. We've got difference there. I've got Dallas winning that at home. Zach's got Tom Brady taking game 1 as the better team. I don't know why I chose that. It's
Tom
just
Brady.
more of a at-home thing.
Tom Brady.
Is that. And then we got one more Revenge Tour game. Monday Night Football is going to be probably not a good game, but an exciting one to watch.
It's going to be the opposite of that Super
Russell
Bowl.
Wilson being back in Seattle. Russell Wilson and the Broncos taking on Seattle, and that is the picks for this week. We will update you next week with what happened. First week of NFL, man. I'm so excited to be watching games, getting in, watching. Dude, it's like there's so much to do. It's not just watching. We got fantasy. We got probably FanDuel stuff. We got these picks. We got this podcast. There's so much on the line rather than just watching these games. So it's going to be a really, really fun time, and I'm excited to continue doing this. I'm just so excited. And yeah, next week we'll have our first full episode of this podcast talking about everything that happened, our fantasy recap, all of that fun stuff, making new picks. I'm so excited to watch some football, man. Hope you guys enjoyed. Zach, if you want to say anything else.
I'm as excited for football as you are. I'm excited to record every week. Should be fun.
Yeah, like I said, this is something new for us, but it'll be something that makes us a little bit more excited to watch the NFL and be involved in a bunch of different stuff. So if you're watching at this point, thanks so much for watching the first week of our NFL podcast here, and hope to see you guys next week. Make sure you tune in. There's going to be a lot of fun stuff and opportunities for you guys coming up. So thanks so much for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoy it. If you did, make sure to like it and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'm the Goose TV, and I'm out. I will see you guys later.